Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So the reason why my makeup is half done is because I am making a contour highlight blush video today, and the only thing I have on my face is foundation, and then I have my eyes done, only the top lids, not my bottom lids. For foundation I use the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, and for the eyes I use the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette. So the reason why I don't have my lower lash line done is because when I highlight and stuff like that, a lot of it is with concealer and powders and stuff, and if I did my lower lash line, then it would just kind of take away from that. So if I do my eyes first, I always leave my lower lash line blank. If you guys hear that bird in the background, I don't have the windows open. It is actually my bird. I don't know why, but he only makes noises when I am filming, so, or maybe I only hear it when I'm filming, but I'm just putting my hair up just because I don't want it in my way. So for today's video, I'm going to try to cover as much as I can when it comes to contouring and highlighting and blush and things like that, and how you can put it in different places to make your face shape look a little bit different. So first I'm going to start off with highlighting, and lately I have been going in with the Becca Dark Circle Corrector. This is called the Under Eye Brightening Corrector actually. So I normally just start with this underneath my eyes. This isn't a concealer, it's more of a color corrector. So any dark circles and anything like that, it is really just going to conceal them. So this is what you put on before your concealer. And I really love this stuff because it reflects light back at you. So even if you don't really have dark circles, this is really good for highlighting. It just gives that extra step just to make your highlight really bright. So I'm just taking a Morphe foundation brush, and I am not using my fingers because I have nails on, but if I didn't have nails on, I'd be using my fingers. I think a product like this works best with your fingers because it's kind of a thicker consistency, so when it melts into your fingers and you kind of like tap it out, it really melts into your skin. So I'm just putting that right where I see a little bit of darkness, and I'm kind of putting it more in a triangle motion. Just because that's how where my concealer is going to go to. And I kind of bring it up into this inner corner area because you can kind of get a little bit of darkness in there too. And then I'm blending it out with a beauty blender. So you can see already the difference it made between this eye and this eye. This eye just looks a little bit more tired, and this one you can really see the brightness come through. And I would only use this under eye brightening if you're going to be bronzing and contouring and stuff. Otherwise it can just look too bright. Like if I just left it like this, it would just look too bright under there. Next, I'm using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the color Vanilla. Normally I use Custard, but I am very white right now, so I went one shade lighter. And then I'm just kind of doing the same thing as I did with the under eye corrector. I'm just kind of going in a triangle. The reason why I go in a triangle is because that is the shape that kind of lifts your eyes up the most, and it also conceals and highlights at the same time, rather than if I were just to like draw a line underneath my eyes. It kind of brightens up this whole area, and that's like where you want to highlight. Also, if you want to make your nose look a little bit slimmer, bring the concealer up on the nose just a little bit. Like extend the triangle forward. And when you blend it out, it'll make your nose look a little bit slimmer. And then just to even out that highlight, I'm putting some on my chin, down the bridge of my nose, and a little bit on my forehead. And then going in again with a damp beauty blender. That's how I choose to blend out my concealer. I really don't blend out my concealer any other way. I just think that this way soaks up any excess and just makes it look flawless. This is why I don't really do talk throughs that much, because I can't really talk and do my makeup at the same time. But I just felt like I could get more information in if I was doing a talk through with this video rather than just doing a voiceover, because I feel like there's only so much I can really say during a voiceover. I don't know what the word is. Hello, Ringo. Ringo, pretty bird. Ringo is a pretty bird. Mom, do you hear him? And then to set my concealer, I'm using the Hourglass Ambient Lighting powder in the color Diffuse Light. And it looks a little bit white on camera, but it is like a yellow tone powder. If you aren't familiar with Hourglass, most of their powders are more luminous. It doesn't really have shimmer in it. When you put it on the skin, it just gives like a luminosity rather than just having like a normal like matte powder. So if you are oily, I wouldn't suggest these, but since I'm dry, I love these, especially for the winter months and like for my under eye area. I just think that it gives like a really glowy, dewy finish. So this is the ambient lighting powder in the color Diffuse Light, and it is more of a yellow tone, so it will cancel out more of that darkness. Next, I'm going to start to bronze up the face a little bit, and I am using the Makeup Forever Bronze Fusion. And I don't know what the color is on this one because it doesn't really say. But I do know that if you go on like Sephora.com, it's the second color for light skin tones. So first I'm just going to bronze. I'm not contouring yet. And I'm taking this angled blush brush from IT Cosmetics. It's in the color, or in the shade 227. It just says Flawless Blush, and I really like this one for bronzing, and especially bronzing the forehead. I'm just swirling that around, and I'm starting on my forehead, and I'm just going to bronze a little bit. I don't really contour my forehead because I feel like bronzing does the job itself, kind of. So I just bronze like the outer parts of my forehead, and I do notice that it makes my forehead look smaller. If you really want to go in extreme depths to make your forehead look smaller, you kind of like, so if your forehead's more square, you kind of stick to these outer temples, like right around here. And then if your forehead is more high, you want to kind of bronze like up here more. But I'm just kind of bronzing like the outer part in general because, I mean, I know my forehead's big, but I don't really go to any certain extent to contour it. I'm doing the same thing on my cheeks. I'm just going to kind of bronze where you would start to contour. You don't just want to bronze your whole face because that defeats the purpose of contouring and highlighting. So you just kind of want to go like where your, kind of like where your ear, the top of your ear starts. You just want to go down there. Or if you suck in your cheeks, right where it starts to hollow out is where you want to put your bronzer. I'm just going to take a regular powder brush and bronze my neck a little bit and kind of bring it out this way. If you want to contour your jawline even more, just take like a little bit more of a precise brush, kind of something like this with a little bit of a, ooh, powder just came out of that. Just something like with more of a tip and kind of like define the jawline a little bit more. But I just like to bronze it because as long as you're bronzing in the places that you want to contour, it's going to make a little bit of a difference. But you can always go to more extreme measures to contour. And then to further contour my cheekbones, I'm taking the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I'm literally dipping the brush once in this shade and once in that shade, just a little tiny dot, because that's all you need. Since we already bronzed, we don't want like a strong contour. So a couple different brushes you can use. These are my most favorite brushes. These are the brushes that I switch between the most. It just depends on what I'm feeling that day. This one is the Real Techniques contour brush. It's in the number 301. It's kind of like the NARS Ita brush. I think it's just a little bit cheaper. But you literally, like, all you have to do is like stamp it where you want your contour and then blend it out. I wouldn't blend it out with this because I feel like this can make your contour a little bit heavy. So if you're going to use this, I would suggest getting something more like this too, just to kind of blend out a little bit. But this is the IT Cosmetics Velvet Luxe Soft Focus Sculpting Brush in the number 315. This one is what I use most to contour with because you can just kind of like stamp it and then blend it out all in one, but it doesn't give as harsh of a contour as this Real Techniques brush does. And then the last one that I use is the Angled Contour Brush by Morphe. No, this is Makeup Geek. And it's kind of angled along the same lines as this one, just a little bit smaller, and you can really get in those corners low. So if my contour was here, it would just make my cheekbones look really big. And then if I bring it too high, it makes you look like you have like a double chin in through here. So you really want to make sure that you're starting right where the hollows of your cheeks start. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that right there. And you can see that's all you really need. I just like kind of wiggled it a little bit, and that's all you need right there. And then the same thing on this side. And then I'm just taking that brush by IT Cosmetics, and I'm just going to blend it out. And I don't have any additional product on. And as you can see, I stopped the contour right about here. If you bring it down farther, the farther in you bring it down, the more you're going to look like you're sunken in. So you can always do that depending on the look you're going for. I just want a little bit of a contour, so I stop it here, and I want it to look a little bit more natural. If I were to keep bringing it in to the corner of my mouth, I would just look dead. What you can also do if you want to make your cheeks look more full up here is take your contour down and around a little bit, and as you round it out more, it'll just make your cheeks look more fuller up here. Next, I'm doing what is called baking, and I am using the Tarte Amazonian Clay translucent powder. What baking does is you can kind of use it to clean up your contour a little bit, which is what I'm going to be doing today. You can also set your concealer with it, and the longer you leave it, the longer it like bakes for, and the longer it'll last. I don't like baking my concealer because I have dry skin and I feel like it makes me even drier, but I do like it to sculpt out my contour a little bit. If you mess up a little bit on your contour, baking will help clean it up a little bit. So I'm just taking some of that translucent powder, and I'm taking the Morphe M439, I think it is. I kind of wiped off the numbers a little bit, but I think that's what this brush is. And you can also use this Real Techniques tapered highlight brush for it. As you can see, that's what I normally use because all that powder is coming out, but I do like this brush for that too. So I'm just going to kind of clean up underneath where I contoured. And I'm going all underneath, and then I'm going to kind of round it out a little bit. Not a lot, just a little tiny bit. And I'm going all the way to my mouth just because I want to make sure that that contour is nice and sharp. So you should have something like that, and the longer you leave it like that, the better, just because it's really going to set everything in place. So while that is baking, I'm going to do my blush, and I'm using the Milani Baked Blush in the color Luminoso. For my blush, I'm using this Morphe blush brush. I don't know the numbers because I rubbed it off, but it's just kind of like an angled blush brush. And I kind of like to start my blush right around here. If you bring it too far in, it'll kind of erase that highlight, and if you bring it too far in, it kind of makes your face, like it can make your face look bigger because you're kind of cutting off that highlight area. You really, if you're trying to get rid of like big cheeks, try to make start your blush a little bit farther back, because that will kind of make sure that the center of your face looks really bright. So like I said, I kind of start my blush right around here, and I just kind of blend it back into my contour. You don't want to take it too far up either, because you really want to make sure that this area right here is nice and bright. So I don't go all the way into my apples. So I don't go all the way into the apples of my cheeks, but I don't cut it off either. So I kind of go in the middle. And I just kind of blend back. So I'm just taking this tapered highlighting brush by Real Techniques, and I'm just going to blend off that powder. Alright, so as you can see, you have a nice crisp line where your contour should be, and it looks a little bit bright right now, but I think that that's just the lighting, because it doesn't look that bright in person. It just kind of blends in because it is a translucent powder, so it lets the colors of your foundation and stuff show through. So that is what you should have so far. And then the last step that I always do for highlighting is I put some sort of like shimmery highlight on. This is Laura Geller's Gilded Honey, and that's what I'm using today. You can either use a bigger brush. You can either use a bigger brush like the Morphe M439, or you can use something like a fan brush. This is by e.l.f. and it's just the fan brush. I kind of do a little bit of both. So if I really want that highlight to stand out, I go in with the bigger brush first. And I kind of just put it right on the tops of the cheekbones. And as you can see, it just makes it stand out, makes your cheekbones stand out a little bit more, and it gives you that like frosted, highlighted look. And then I'm just taking a fan brush and going over that highlight one more time. And you can see that just makes your cheekbones stand out. So at this point the whole face is done except the lower lash line, so I'm going to go ahead and do my lower lash line off camera, and then I will be back in a second. Alright, so that was my finished contour highlight blush video. At this point I would just spray my face with some sort of setting spray, whether that be MAC Fix Plus or any kind of setting spray. But other than that, that is how I normally contour and highlight my face. If you have any other questions, like for different face shapes and stuff like that, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. I always answer every single comment. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!